Hi there, I'm Rascal, and over 12 years ago, Chris Roberts released a trailer for what looked to be the game of my dreams, along with a Kickstarter and a release date of 2014. Ooh, okay, that's a little bit late. Well, they were asking for 2 million at the time, so maybe they didn't. How much have they raised? Okay, listen, I joke. I've been following the development of this game since the very first trailer, even if I didn't back the game at the time, being a 14-year-old with no income. I did back it in 2018, just after Alpha 3.0 dropped. But in all honesty, I found Star Citizen to be more of a tech demo with a lot of promise over these last few years, rather than an actual game. That doesn't mean I haven't been hyped for the day it does become an actual game. I'm always keeping up to date with the development, and even bought a HOTAS setup specifically for increased immersion. And that's why, with the release of Alpha 4.0, roughly 7 years after I backed the game, I thought it would be fun to see just how far development has come. So, if you'd be so inclined, join me to see if the game of my dreams is any closer to being a reality, or still just a very pretty tech demo. This is my journey in Alpha 4.0. I load up the game and come to this screen. The two main options here are the Persistent Universe and Arena Commander. I select the Persistent Universe, which brings me to a character creation screen. Now, the character creator here feels really powerful, and I imagine I could spend hours creating my perfect avatar. But after all the wipes, I'm kind of numb to it. So I put one together pretty quickly and press play. I'm then greeted by a pop-up asking me if I want to play through the tutorial. Go on, why not? Maybe I'll learn about something new they've added in 4.0. I'm then asked to select my primary residence. I select New Babbage in the Stanton system. New Babbage being a luxurious city located on the planet Microtech. You might be thinking that's a weird name for a planet, but all the planets in the Stanton system are named after mega corporations that own them. I can think of someone who would like the sound of that. After this, I press play and... oh my! They did it! It is a real MMO! After waiting in the queue for a little bit, I finally wake up in my room in New Babbage. And by Zeus, this is so much smoother than whatever I played before. Everything before felt you were interacting in slow motion or underwater. Here the game feels responsive. Mr. Roberts may have actually done it. I walk around the room and may have broken the tutorial slightly by going into third person to look around. I try leaving the room, which I'm not allowed to do yet. I realize I probably need to have a drink of water and eat the burrito that has been so kindly left out for me. Because yes, in this game there are survival mechanics like thirst and hunger. I then open my Moby Glass, essentially Star Citizen's idea of what mobile phones will eventually become, and your interface as the player for a lot of the systems in game. I open the journal to see if it can maybe give me some pointers on what the tutorial wants me to do, which it doesn't, but closing my Moby Glass does add the markers back onto my screen, telling me to drink the water I've already drank, and equip my helmet. Okay, that I can do. Now I have a helmet, I'm ready to go to
one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space!
Oh boy, just wait till he hears these planet names. But to get to space, I need to get to my ship first. So I leave the room and head to the elevator down the hallway. Once inside, I select lobby on the panel. On the way down, another player joins me in the elevator. I greet him with the universal greeting. I then make it to the lobby where the tutorial tells me to check out the map. Not sure how useful this map is considering we have maps on our Moby Glass, but still another cool detail. I'm then told to go to the store to partake in some good old-fashioned capitalism, where the man behind the counter greets me as I head to the shopping kiosk.
Hi. Thanks for coming in.
I buy myself a med pen for health, pistol and ammo for defense, and a multi-tool with some attachments for utility. So you can imagine my surprise when I opened my inventory and didn't see my purchases there. They've taken my money though, so I'm pretty sure I find them somewhere along the way. After this, I make my way down to the lower levels to the Metro Loop, the futuristic train system in New Babbage, and using the signs located about, find the train headed to the spaceport. There's a handy little countdown located just above the doors to let you know when the next train's arriving. So I wait till then, get on the train, and take a seat. But not for long, because this place looks really cool, and I want to get a better look, so I get up to get a view of the city from the front of the train. We pull into the spaceport station, where I disembark from the train and make my way to the elevators. I take one up, make my way through customs, and up into the New Babbage Interstellar Spaceport, where I locate a Fleet Manager terminal. Now, normally I would have access to my Avenger Titan, but because I'm in the tutorial, I only have access to the Anvil C8 Pisces. I'm sure I can make do with that one for the moment. I get it delivered and retrieve it, and the terminal tells me to find it in my own personal hangar, which is another cool addition for me. Last time I played, you had to remember the hangar number, which were all shared. Now I have my own hangar. This is awesome! I take an elevator over to my hangar and make my way up to the ship. Opening the back door, I make my way inside to the pilot's seats, turn on the power, and oh, black screen of death. These are apparently a new feature in 4.0, where the game has essentially crashed. And it was all going so well. Nothing to do but reload the game. I end up back on the main menu, where the game asks me again if I want to go through the tutorial. After the crash, I kind of just want to play the game. So I decide to skip. I'm sure this will have no negative repercussions in the slightest. I wait in the queue again until I wake up in the beds I started in. I make my way down to the Metro Loop, over to the spaceport, through customs, where I come across Make my way up the stairs into a fleet manager terminal. And this time I have access to my Titan. So I retrieve that one and make my way down to the hangar, where I enter and... Oh god, what's going on in here? Is this how ships reproduce? Have I just walked in and made things incredibly awkward? Doesn't seem to bother them. I leave the ships to do their thing and go back to the terminal, where I store the Pisces away and it looks like my Titan didn't make it through. Is the Pisces the female Black Widow of the spaceship world? But I guess this does give me the opportunity to show you what happens when you lose a ship in Star Citizen. The thrilling experience of filling out an insurance claim. Man, I love escapism. I spend a fee to expedite my claim, but notice that I only have the Pisces for another hour. So I thought I might as well take it for a test flight while I have it. I make my way back down to my hangar, and this is where I discover that I had a fleet manager terminal down here the whole time. I decide to have a look around and see what else I might have down here. I find another fleet manager terminal. Not sure what this one's for, but I guess it's to retrieve ground vehicles so you can load them into larger ships. Correct me if I'm wrong. I then find this terminal, which takes me a moment to figure out, but eventually... Oh, that's where my purchases went. I also have a few other items in here that have been added to my account over the years, though I've never actually used any of them, out of fear of dying and losing them to the cold void of space. I bring up the items I purchased earlier, and once again, I just find this really cool. Having your items brought up on a giant freight elevator, though maybe a bit excessive for these small trinkets. I pick up my multi-tool and the attachments I bought, and then I pick up the pistol. I also bought a Medipen though, and I can't seem to find that anywhere. I try going prone to get a closer look, but no luck. I then give my pistol a try just to get a feel for it. Oh, I like that. Alrighty, now that I'm geared up, it's time to take flight. I make my way into the Pisces, power up the engines, no crash this time, and now I need to contact air traffic control to request permission to take off. I look around, and after going through the pages on one of the screens, I find the button and make the call. I then wait for the hangar doors to open and make my way out. With that, we have liftoff. Now, I mentioned earlier that I purchased a HOTAS for playing Star Citizen, and when I've had it set up, it's been great. Thing is, I don't have it set up right now, and while Star Citizen does have a pre-built control profile for this specific model, it's more of a starting point than actually usable, so I'm going to need to make some changes. The first thing I set up is the throttle. Last time I played, the default was set to the middle position being neutral. Pushing forward meant going forward, and pulling back meant reversing. I don't like this, so here, I set it to the frontmost state being neutral, and pulling back increases the throttle. That seems to have worked. Awesome. Now, on to the next change. By default, the roll on the ship is set to this, and the yaw is set to this. This doesn't feel natural to me, so I switch them over. There we go. Now that feels right. And with that, I have the very basic controls set up. So I just fly around for a bit and take in the view. There are still a bunch of things that need to be set up, and I'll get to those, hopefully before I need them. Now, while New Babbage is beautiful, it's also not the most practical starting point if we want to get some missions done. You fly slower in atmosphere as compared to the vacuum of space, so I want to set my spawn point somewhere out of the atmosphere. Thankfully, I know just the place. Port Tressler, a space station located above the city. This is going to be a bit of a trip though. Not a super long one, but long enough that I'd probably want the ability to boost to get there quicker. I bind it to this key, and while I may be able to get there, once I do get there, I am going to want to land. So I set a button for deploying my landing gear and a button to easily contact air traffic control. Finally, I set some controls on the back of my throttle to strafe up, down, left, and right. Now I'm ready to make the journey. I set my destination to Port Tressler in the map, line up with the marker that's popped up on my HUD, and start making my way forward. The boost does come in pretty handy, and the view is also nothing to be scoffed at. Along the way, I realize I also haven't set up my speed limiter yet, which I set to this rotating knob on the throttle. I make it to Port Tressler's airspace. Airspace? Is that right? And contact air traffic control for permission to land. I get designated a hangar and make my way towards it, where I try to line myself up for landing, but I wasn't quick enough. So the doors close on me before I can make it in. I decide to deploy my landing gear and line myself up with a hangar before contacting air traffic control again. This time, I'm ready. The doors open and I make my way in slowly. Where I use the strafe down button for a clean landing. We did it, guys! We successfully survived our first flight, and it was great. Now to go set my spawn point. I leave the pilot's seat and make my way to the back of the ship where I exit the vehicle. I then make my way to the fleet manager terminal to store it away safely, and take a moment to appreciate it being put away into storage. Before leaving the hangar, I also put a claim in for my Adventure Titan, just in case we need it. I then take the elevator out the hangar and into the main lobby of Port Tressler, where I find my way to the medical bay and check in. I totally don't get lost looking for Room 5, and once I make it there, I change my preferred regen location to Port Tressler. After this, I decide to have a look around the station when... Oh, for sake. Another black screen of death. But hey, we were able to set our spawn. So loading back in, we should be able to pick up pretty much where we left off. Now it's time for... I log back in and wake up in a room on Port Tressler. I then make my way down to the lobby and find a fleet manager terminal. And here we go. I retrieve my Avenger Titan. I make my way down to the hangar and there she is. Just look at the beauty, the curves on her. But I want to pretty her up a bit more, so we're headed back down to New Babbage. I get flight ready and leave the hangar. Now, very quickly, while the flight up to Port Tressler wasn't too long, there is a quicker way to travel long distances, known as quantum traveling. Last time I played, you just press B to set us up. Now they've added these things called master modes, which in layman's terms means you have two modes for your ship. Fighting mode, with shields and guns powered up, and travel mode, with increased speed and the ability to quantum travel. From what I understand, they are going to be changing this system again in the future. But hey, this is what it is right now. So, I set some key bindings to my HOTAS to be able to switch between the two modes, and get ready to jump. I set my destination and wait for my quantum drive to charge up and and I am able to get some nice shots flying into New Babbage. Oh, no. Okay. So, this increased speed is nice, but what you just saw there was my character nearly blacking out from the G-forces applied on him. So I'm going to need to keep an eye on that in the future. I make it to the spaceport, line up my ship with the hangar, and request to land. Now, I'll be completely honest, I don't know how I survived this, but the way I currently have my speed limiter set up isn't the most precise. And I also haven't set up a space brake or a reverse option on my throttle yet. So when my ship kept going forward as I was waiting for the hangar to open, I thought I was going to die. But miraculously, I didn't blow up, and I'm able to land safely. I store my Titan away, and now I am able to apply this paint job to it. Now, this is a paint job I bought all the way back in 2021 during an event known as Invictus Week. Why did I buy this? Well, it's very simple. It's blue, and bitches love blue. It's me. I'm bitches. And come on, don't tell me that doesn't look sexy. Look at those curves. And because I'm currently focusing on style, I decided to give decorating my hangar a go. With the latest patch, items that are placed somewhere in the world should persist, at least in theory, which I find incredible. For a game on such a large scale to remember details on such a small scale is mind-blowing. So I finally check out those items I'd been too scared to check out in the past, and place them around my hangar. I place this penguin plushie here next to the freight elevator controls, along with this purple dragon thing. If anyone has any ideas for names for these little ones, leave them down in the comments. I then leave this trophy next to the fleet manager terminal, and then if someone could explain to me what these red envelopes that I have are for, that would be great. Now, I want to test to see if these items I just placed will actually stay where I put them. So I pop to the shop to purchase some food and drinks quickly, and while trying to find the things I just bought in my inventory, find out how to equip the extensions to my multi-tool, which is going to be useful in a little bit, as I just equipped the tractor beam extension. I then make my way back down to my hangar, and hell yes! The items all stayed where I put them. So base decorating is now a feature in the game. Awesome! I then retrieve the food and drink from the freight elevator and figure out how to remove my helmet so I can actually consume them. And I'm sure I'll find a bin to throw this can away at some point in the future. Okay, so now that we're all prettied up and have made our hangar a little more homely, I think it's time to start looking into making some money. Thankfully, while I do have to do tedious IRL things such as eat, drink, and deal with insurance, Star Citizen doesn't force me to write a CV and wait on rejection letters to find work. No, I can just open my Mobiglass and go to the contracts panel. From here, I can see a bunch of available contracts broken down into categories. While the contracts under Mercenary or Bounty Hunter may look fun and exciting, I don't think I'm ready for those just yet. So we're going to check out hauling as our first way of making money. Here, I find a contract from Kovalex Independent Contractors, offering me a trial run as a cargo hauler. All I need to do is pick up 8 boxes of quartz from Port Tressler and bring them back down to New Babbage. We have experience flying between those two locations. The reward is a cool 50k Alpha UEC, and the opportunity to do more hauling contracts in the future. So I accept the contract and get back into my ship. I take off from New Babbage, and a few minutes later, I'm back in Port Tressler's airspace. Still not sure if that's the right term. I request to land, and they put me in another queue. And then the game glitched out slightly, so I then had to rejoin the queue. But now I'm second instead of first. So I just flew around a bit while waiting for a hangar. Eventually, one does become available, and I land without much issue. Leaving my ship, I make my way to the freight elevator where my shipment is waiting for me in storage. After raising the elevator, I use the multi-tool with the tractor beam extension to move all the cargo I need into the back of my ship, which luckily holds a total of 8 SCU, just the right amount needed. I do knock myself over with one of the crates while loading, but lesson learnt, if a big box is flying towards you with any momentum, maybe move out the way. Anyways, after loading up all the boxes of quartz, I jump back into the pilot seat and make my way back down to New Babbage. I once again miss my hangar and have to wait for another player to leave before I can enter, but I do manage to get a spot and not crash. Now, that should be the end of the adventure, but I have one more obstacle to overcome. I can't seem to figure out how to exit the cockpit, and my way through the back of the ship is blocked off by my cargo. So, after a quick trip to Google, I find out I missed the prompt to the left of the pilot's seat, but I am able to make it out. Anyways, I unload the shipment from the ship and onto the freight elevator, transfer it down to the warehouse, and there we go. Contract complete. I received that cool 50k, and have even built up some reputation with Kovalex. I am now a trainee. Woohoo! With all that done, I just want to say that while there may have been some crashes and glitches over the course of this session, this is the first time Star Citizen has felt like an actual game, and not just a tech demo promising more in the future. Yeah, there's still a ways to go, but I've really enjoyed my time so far with 4.0, and will probably be back playing more soon. I also think I'm going to be making more videos on the game, now that it's in a more playable state. So, if you'd like to see more of this, maybe consider subscribing, and even leaving a like. I'm also working on a much longer video at the moment, so Star Citizen is probably going to be my rest in between working on that. Oh, and before you go, if this video made you want to try out the game in any way, maybe consider using my referral code that's down in the description when you signed up. You get some extra money when you start if you do, but being completely honest, I also get some bonuses if enough people use it, and that would be kind of cool. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again soon, either on YouTube or in the verse. Okay, cool, that's everything. Bye!